like there's a. Yeah. Going to the holiday.
Well, if you stand just try to look like there's a halo over your head. It used to be that looked like there was a halo over,
Yeah, from the projector.
Yeah.
Yeah, those. You're welcome. To be a public school. Followers.
All right, you robot. Oh, we mute it.
Minutes first and then we come back, right?
Why don't we-
5:30, we're gonna call the meeting to order. We're gonna start with a roll call.
So,
Present?
Dr. Beeson,
Present.
Mr. Munoz,
Present.
Mr. Tatum is absent tonight. Mrs. Bowley went directly into exec session. Dr. Schumacher,
I'm here.
thank you. And Dr. Bonebrake,
I be here.
thank you.
Next item on the agenda is item 2, executive session. I'm looking for a motion.
Madam President, I move the Board of Education of USD 501 recess into executive session for 15 minutes to discuss confidential personnel matters to protect the privacy of the individuals being discussed, pursuant to the personnel exception in the Kansas Open Meetings Act. Return to open session in the boardroom at 5:47. Superintendent and executive staff are invited into executive session.
Thank you. I'm looking for a second. Mr. Munoz, any discussion? All right, we're ready for a vote.
Vote is open. All votes are in and the motion carries.
All right, we will recess into executive session.
Not open the PowerPoint.
Girlfriend.
Right now. I move the Board of Education of USD 501 recess into executive session for 15 minutes to consult with our attorney on matters protected by the attorney-client privilege to protect the board's position in potential litigation. The board will return to open session in the boardroom at 6:02. The superintendent and board attorney are invited into executive session.
Second,
Aye.
any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Right, thank you.
Thank you.
It is 6:02. We are back from executive session. Next item on the agenda is item 3, Pledge of Allegiance.
Bishop Professional Center.
All right. I ask that you all join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Amen.
Thank you so much. Next item on the agenda is item 4, adoption of the agenda. I am looking for a motion.
Madam President, I move the board adopt the agenda as presented.
Thank you. And a second? Dr. Schumacher, any discussion? All right, we'll open it up for a vote.
It moved a little bit on the screen. I almost pushed the nay.
All votes are in and the motion carries unanimously.
It's usually right above.
Thank you. Next item on the agenda, item 5, school highlights.
We are so excited this evening to celebrate our Highland Park Senior of the Month and other Highland Park activities. And how perfect it is, let me also acknowledge that we have a State Board of Education member here with us this evening, Dr. New, who was the former principal at Highland Park. So this is truly a Scott night. With that, please enjoy the video that we're going to show first, and then we'll call up our Senior of the Month.
And the home of the...
Hello, my name is Jesdiel Santiago, and I'm a senior at Highland Park High School. I'm involved in AVID. I'm also part of the Superintendent's Council. I'm in ROTC. I'm in the Scott Singers. I just love HP.
Jess is a all-around amazing kid. He is bright, he is definitely selfless, and he's a person that wants to help the masses.
Amazing young man who has been part of the junior ROTC program for all 4 years. He's super kind, super gentle, has an amazing voice.
He has intentionally sought out more and more opportunities. Excellent student, got high grades. His desire is to contribute to his community.
HP is very special because of the staff we have here and all of the sense of community. There's a lot of talent here, so it's an honor to always go out and represent, showing that this school does have great things to offer.
He's volunteering any way he can, you name it, and he's doing it. I love to see him grow in everything he does. He highlights his assets in every way.
He's done so much for the program, for the school. His compassion, he has a true heart for people, true heart for doing the right thing.
I plan to go to Washburn University and major in criminal justice and hopefully a minor in vocal performance. Singing has been a really big passion for me since I was little. I've always enjoyed singing. Just going out there and representing the school.
Go to Washburn, continue to perform, continue to never give up on your dream of being a lawyer. I think you'll be an awesome lawyer down the road, and use your talents to get you there.
He's the greatest advocate. He wants to make sure that everyone has the same opportunities to grow and to become stronger. He will be by the side, clapping them on. He's not about himself. He is about the greater whole.
Jess, you stand out because you're a natural leader. And when you clap at the end of a movie and everyone starts clapping at the end of the movie, you help people to see the bright side in life, and they can meet that potential if they try.
What I'm going to take away is all of the responsibility I've learned here with the ROTC program and with everything in general. HP has taught me to be a responsible person and a person that shows up for everybody else. And that's why I'm proud to go here.
All right, join me in applauding Mr. Santiago. He's going to come on up with his principal, Ms. Watson, his assistant principal, Ms. Giardina. We are just so proud of him. So I'll turn it over to Mrs. Watson, Ms. Giardina, and Mr. Santiago. Our certificate this evening is for the April Senior of the Month. You are just exceptional, extraordinary. And it is an honor to be your superintendent, but to see you move on to Washburn and stay in Topeka. Again, congratulations, sir. All right, a little closer, then the camera will get you.
In the video, you can see it wasn't a difficult choice on who to choose. As the smiles are showing, that is all day, every day. This is someone who is contagious. You can't even help but to just go with his smiles and what he wants to do. And so we wanted to present him, since he is going to Washburn, with a gift card to go start off his gear at Rally House.
Now, the board's probably gonna have a question or two for you, unless, ladies, if you have anything else you want to share. Other than that, we're gonna turn it over to the board to ask some questions.
Who has questions for Ms. Boley?
I'm so excited about you going to Washburn. I was wondering what made you choose your direction for your future life? What played into that?
Yes, I've always been very passionate about people, so that's why I chose criminal justice. I feel like it's a major that is very focused on impact and the impact that you can have on others. So that's why I chose that direction. I chose Washburn because it's right down the road and it has the law school right there. So I think it's perfect.
Yeah, one of the best in the nation.
Yes, ma'am.
Really highly rated. And so I remember the night you won homecoming, and I remembered somebody that you jumped around with for about 5 minutes in your arm. And I believe I see her here. Is there somebody you would like to recognize in the audience that that has made your life as joyful as it is and the success that you're having?
Sorry, I need a second. The person is my mom. You know, people I really try to make proud. Number one is God always, and second is my mom. We came from Puerto Rico for my education, and everything I do is just to make her proud and to continue going for her because I just want to make her proud.
I think we both need a tissue, right? Well, she has obviously done a really nice job, and we want to thank you because it takes a village, right? He had a lot of compliments for Highland Park High School, but it takes a village and a great parent to help guide. So thank you so much for gifting us with him. We appreciate it so much. And we wish you the best of luck. Yay!
Thank you so much.
Who else has questions? Dr. Beeson?
In that video, I heard a lot about a really incredible human being, and that's always my favorite part of these senior honors is our kid's character. You just showed us what an incredible human being you are also, and I just wanted to comment on how obvious your joy is, even leading us in the Pledge of Allegiance. It was joyful. And I have remembered you since convocation.
Wow.
What an incredible start to the school year for all of us. So thank you for sharing your talents. I would love to hear about Junior ROTC. I love learning about that program at HP, and I've seen you in there also.
Yes,
So
ma'am.
if you would tell us a little bit about that.
Okay, so the ROTC program is basically like a family-based program. It's about the relationships that you build with other students in there. I joined there since my freshman year, and honestly, I joined because of the uniform. I really liked how the uniform looked, so I kind of joined for that. But as the years went on, I just started learning from the sergeants, and it's the best type of discipline you can get, but it's all fun, work hard, play hard, always. But yeah, the ROTC program is a place of growth. It's a place of, just having fun and enjoying HP at the end of the day.
Well, I think you've been a gift to Topeka Public Schools, and I wish you all the best.
Thank you so much.
Anyone else? Mr. Munoz?
Education, it's a team sport, right? We surround students to make sure they're successful. And you mentioned that your mom is an important part of that, and JROTC is. Are there other individuals who you want to sort of highlight who've been there to sort of help you be successful like you've been?
Yes, I want to highlight everybody from HP, the administration for giving me so many wonderful opportunities. I also want to mention my old choir teacher, Ms. Goodrich. She really opened up a lot of doors for me. She's the reason where that I started going out and doing events for Topeka Public Schools, singing the national anthem. So, no, it's great.
All right, anyone else? Dr. Boneberg?
Whatever your career goals and successes, I hope you come back to the area.
Thank you so much.
We need you.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Or I'd just like to say that you fill a room, right, with joy and with warmth, and your voice fills a room. And I hope that it's very infectious and contagious in a world where there's so many hard things and so much hurt. For you to live that out through your faith and through the things that you do, and the connection that you have with your family and your faculty at HP. You are a blessing. And I am so excited to hear that you want to continue to do your vocals at Washburn University. As we all live in Topeka, it would be very easy for us to come listen to those performances if you happen to perform. So be sure and let us know.
Absolutely.
But you make us very, very proud. You are the epitome of why we do what we do. And congratulations, and keep going and doing amazing things. Just don't quit.
Thank you so much.
All right, so hang tight for about 5 minutes and we're gonna get taking a photo with you, okay? We also want to acknowledge, and I will share with you, since both principal and assistant principal, and it's a Highland Park night, we do have the equity project that will be later, but it really is a highlight. And there's a video that they've also created with the help of communications. And so if I may indulge for a moment, we may just go straight into that. So we get both photos, both with the equity folks, as well as since that really our focus tonight will be on HPH, leaving questions if you have them when we get to the equity piece, and leaving the accreditation report. I do want to acknowledge our paraprofessionals. Everyone from the para advisory has either retired or been promoted to a teacher. So we'll be starting all over. We do have our Topeka West para advisory member. We have our Loman Hill advisory member. But we'll be picking a few more advisory members this year. But we are pushing out a video really highlighting Vicki Meyer, our former Distinguished Staff Person of the Year, and other paraprofessionals. We have about 500 paraprofessionals. Paraprofessional Day was yesterday, and they are the backbone of what we do in our classrooms. So we just want to thank them and acknowledge and proclaim that yesterday, April 1st, was Paraprofessional Appreciation Day. Our next and final highlight is about the equity project. So I'm going to call Ms. Giardina on up. And the equity, our equity project is really focused on Highland Park. And as we have this highlight, it is certainly most appropriate. And we bring up the slide for our equity council. Every year, at the very end of the year, after the last meeting, we come back and we share, here are things that we've done. And we remind you of the mission and the vision. For board members that were there, you know this. For the rest of you, you're hearing it perhaps for the first time. I didn't even realize the last meeting was the last meeting. And it was kind of a different meeting. So after that, we begin to ask people things that they'd like to present. So we'll bring up that PowerPoint if we could. I'm going to ask Dr. New. I thought she was going to be online, but she's physically here. You know, we will be presenting her when we do the Above and Beyond Awards. With an Above and Beyond award. She retired, is on the state board, but still finds time, one, to come to our retiree reception, but also finds time to co-chair the Equity Council, which is pretty remarkable. Sometimes she's in a meeting and she's in a car somewhere, and other times she's in an office, but we just thank her so much. Since she was the beginning person that helped start this Equity Council, as we go to the mission and vision, we're just going to remind you, we don't have to read you the whole thing, but what the Equity Council is, and then we'll go straight into the focus for this year. Dr. New, can you come on up, and the mission and vision, and anything that you would like to say about why we have an Equity Council, even if you don't read that, we would appreciate it.
Well, thank you so much, Dr. Anderson. Board members, it is a privilege to be before you tonight. I did not anticipate that, but I can certainly offer you my gratitude for allowing me to continue to participate. And the thing that I do want to share, though, is I appreciate the fact that you are willing to continue to support this work in an age when so many are trying to roll back what we do, reframe what we need to do. Under Dr. Anderson's leadership and your support, I think that's what makes Topeka Public Schools a place where every child should know that they're welcome and every parent should know that they have a voice. So thank you for that. We are definitely meeting our stated mission and vision, and I believe with your continued support that we will be able to keep doing that. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. New, and for helping guide us as the chair. We're going to ask Ms. Jardina to come forward. And as we look at the several of the activities, Dr. Gray, did you want me to proceed or would you like to? Dr. Gray said, you can just do it, Dr. Anderson. I really wanted to bring his voice in because he does sit on these virtual meetings and he helps plan these activities and visits. Dr. New and I facilitate and we talk about the agenda. But Dr. Gray, do you want to share kind of what we did this year? And then we'll turn it over to Ms. Jardina as the highlight.
Again, thank you so much, Dr. Anderson. We had a really fun time this year with the Equity Council. We started out in September, as you can see. We had Mr. Phillips from Topeka West. We had it was a diverse student body. I think there was the Black Student Union that came and they spoke and just talked about all the wonderful things that were going on at Topeka West. And then in October, we had Dr. Kip that came and shared some demographic data. We talked about trends in JDC. Mr. Schwartz was there as well as Ms. King. And this was really foundational for our visit in November. I had an opportunity along with Dr. Anderson, I think Board Member Munoz, he was there. He visited the JDC. We had principals there and some teachers that were there as well. So a lot of activity. As we move on, I think we went to January. We had an update from Mr. Munoz about immigration. We had Pastor Sublet that had come and he shared with us about the wonderful work that's going on in East Topeka as it relates to SENT. And then also Ms. Jardina, she shared with us about some wonderful opportunities and equity work that's going on at Highland Park High. In February, again, we attended various Black History Month activities across the district. And then in March, which was just a few days ago, we had Ms. Carter who shared about some student experiences. She's with the NAACP and they had a group of students that went to Fort Leavenworth, yes, that was correct. And just had a wonderful time and learned a lot about history there, and as well as Mrs. Kramer, who came and shared about NAMI. So again, a lot of things, a lot of work that we've done this year as it relates to equity.
I am so excited to be here to share this opportunity today. As you may have known, Highland Park had a daycare. And in December 2024, the daycare vacated, which left us some space of what to do with it. And Ms. Watson and I, on a Saturday, because, we can't stop thinking about things, came up with the idea of let's do something for our families. And so we took the daycare and it has been transformed. And our goal was to get to not just equity, but removing barriers. What are those barriers that we have? So I'm going to speak today on one of the parts, which is our family side. So we have the daycare, which we had to train ourselves, is no longer the daycare. It is called the Plaza, okay? Before I jump into that, here's just a little bit about Highland Park. We are 48% Hispanic, and then you see the other races there, and we are 80% free reduced. That also gave us an opportunity to do something different with our staff, with our students. So what we have done at Highland Park, if you can go ahead to the next one. What we have done, Highland Park is the newcomer space, and that means that anyone that is in their first year of coming into the country and a high schooler will come to Highland Park. With that, we've just had so many opportunities. Ms. Labrador has been essential in that, Ms. Keys, in helping our students get the best opportunity in an unfamiliar space. Ms. Labrador wanted me to make sure I said, shout out to our bilingual students. They have been teachers for us and helping them feel welcomed. So if you haven't seen that, please stop by. Everything I'm talking about today comes with an invitation of please just come by. So some of the things we've done to address the barriers of language, most of our students are Spanish speaking. And so these are some of the things we're doing through our school culture. As you can see up there, when our teachers are teaching, behind them on a PowerPoint slide is everything they're saying in Spanish so that the students can read it. We're learning how to slow down so that it can catch up with us. Assignments are given that way, just a lot of different opportunities. So then moving on to that 80% free reduce comes to our Highland Park Plaza. We have 3 areas, particularly with our families. The first is a mini mart. So we have parents and families, Highland Park families only, that are signed up to get a little grocery box every other week. And it comes by need, it comes by recommendation, however that may be. Also within that, we call it a mini mart because they come inside and there's some one-off items they can shop for. They can shop for different things they need that aren't in the box. And then also they can move on to Just Threads. Just Threads is our own clothing outlet. And the kids that have seen it are like, is this free? Yes, it's free because I don't know, but kids love thrifting these days. So this is our own little thrift store that we call Just Threads. And in addition to that, we have family nights. And we invite you to those family nights once we get those started. And what we'll be doing is bringing families in to learn, say, about scholarships. In the midst of that, we're going to feed them. Then we're going to talk about the nutritional value of the food we're feeding them. And then they will leave with those ingredients in a box to go home and do that meal again. So those are just some ways that we are doing this. Another opportunity that the students have is in the plaza, we do have a market. And like I said, I can explain it all day, but if you don't see it, you won't get it. So just come visit. But what the students are now going to be able to do, we have to have assets and they need experience. So just yesterday, we had our first orientation for 18 students, 23 total, but 18 students had their orientation for those jobs. So they will be working in the plaza in all those different areas, and we're super excited for what's to come. So I invite you to Highland Park, to the plaza, to see what good we have going on.
And we have a video that concludes her presentation. So you get a chance to see the plaza in action. We'll turn it over to questions and then proceed with photos.
Welcome to our HP Plaza. It's a space for our students and their families. We have a clothing bank, a food bank, a store for kids to shop in using their CI3T points, along with a learning center for teachers to bring their kids down.
It took a lot of helping hands. We had our community partner, Michelle, that came in very often and provided us with all the furniture that you see here. Our social workers were down here with students helping to clean up things, put things in order, and it was so appreciative that they did that. We're at the point now where we are going to start hiring students to work in here.
The goal for the space is to ensure that all students have their needs taken care of because it takes away those barriers that they're constantly thinking about and allows them to learn.
I stand up here alone, but I'm never alone. So Ms. Watson, come up here just in case they ask us both questions.
All right, who has questions? Mr. Munoz?
I love that you've reimagined the space. You saw a space and you said, what can we do with it and how that'll benefit our students. I'm interested in if you could sort of share what you see as sort of the toughest challenges that some of our students are facing, and how have you responded?
I would definitely say food insecurity is very large right now. Both of us, just in our own offices, keep our own food boxes where we literally feed kids all day long. I took a kid to school today, and on my way, I was asking him, I said, hey, I get paid tomorrow. What do you need for the house? And he said, food. We don't have any. And just like that, like I tried not to cry. But transportation, food, consistent housing, which I'm sure a lot of people in Topeka are struggling with.
Well, thank you all I know you all already have a lot on your plate and you are doing an amazing job. So to go that extra length, I think I really appreciate you all. Thank you.
Dr. Beeson?
I just wanted to comment on, I was there last at HP for the Principal for a Day. And we talked about your vision for this space, and it was still just the empty daycare. And this is insane how quickly and how beautifully you have transformed that space. And I know it took a lot of different helping hands, but truly remarkable that this is up and running like this. Folks in our community, if they're able to donate, is there a way to do so?
So what we do with donations is ask that you contact me,
Okay.
and then we will just go from there depending on what our need is.
Okay, perfect. Thank you so much.
Any other questions? No? Well, Dr. Beeson kind of stole mine because I was going to ask if there are community members that want to be able to give to make sure that our students have those basic needs met. I can't remember what the statistic is. You guys probably do. When basic needs aren't met, how many days does it take once getting those needs met again before they can focus again on school? Do you know what that number is? It used to be, I felt like when I worked in communities and schools, when kids didn't have meals over the weekend, right? It took coming back to school on Monday and having the meals provided by the school. I think it took until Wednesday before that insecurity was to a point that they could focus on learning again. So if you think about that in our students, and I know you guys are constantly 24 hours a day thinking about what you can do for your students. Your hearts are way bigger than your bodies. Your energy is just limitless. And our Highland Park kids and families are so lucky to have you on their side. So I truly appreciate all that you're doing. And I really do want to put out a call to the public if there are people who want to donate, you know, if you have something that can fit in their plaza, I know they would be more than willing to talk to you and take that and pass that on to their students. So thank you so much, you guys.
That is our final highlight. And so the Equity Council this year focused on parent engagement, sticking with those mission items of academics, post-secondary school, college and career readiness, and diversity. But parent engagement this year, and I suspect that's going to be part of what we focus on next year. With that, we'd like to take just a few minutes to get photos with our Senior of the Month and our Equity Council. We just might as well come up and stay up so let's start with Mr. Santiago.
All right, next item on our agenda is item 6, public communications. I believe we have someone here. All right. Ms. Jones? I'm going to have you please come forward and state your name and address for the record. You have 3 minutes to address the board. We ask that your remarks to the board be respectful. As school board members, we must make sure the privacy rights of all USD 501 employees are protected. Please keep your comments generalized and refrain from using employee names or any other identifying information. Board Policy 2050 requires all complaints to be made and resolved at the lowest administrative level. When a complaint is made directly to the board, it is referred to the superintendent and building principal for investigation and resolution. Thank you.
Thank you. My name is Tashika Jones, and I'm here for all of our kids for the USD 501. Our kids' phones was illegally taken and wasn't notified about it. And I'm here to see what we can do about it. They have their rights and they don't know that. And I'm not gonna be silent because still today nothing's been done or taken about it. When my kids is not with me and they're at 501, y'all are their parents. So I expect that they being taken care of. So when this incident happened, I wasn't notified and I didn't know what was going on and why. They say they put our kids out of our class. Not one of whoever came to take the phones was on their contact list, emergency contacts, pick up, drop off, none of that. So why wasn't I called? What are we gonna do? I don't know, because nothing still has been done. They say, oh, kids are not to be talked to without their parents being there unless I thought 13 or something, but now it's 14. It's the law. But what is the law? Because every time something comes up, it's rearranged to fit or make it be right. So nobody's in trouble or it seems like it's done right, but it's not. Why hasn't it still been put in the books to where, how do we do it when it happens again? I don't know. Where do we go from here? We don't know. It's still not being talked about. I'm still not gonna be quiet because they still went and took my kid phone without permission or let me know what was even going on. Where do we go from here? I don't know. Seemed like it was just swept under the carpet. What do we do now? They say, oh, we care. What can we do? It's already been done. Still today, if this was happening again, how do we know what to come or how do we know how to handle it from there? My kids' rights was violated. Their phones was taken. If they would have came and talked to me, they would have knew my kids didn't even have no phone. Can I have some more?
Does anyone object? Okay. Can you wrap it up in about 1 to 2 more minutes?
Chief said, oh, we're gonna be silent. No, that's not gonna solve the problem. What are we gonna do? Their rights were violated. And nothing's still been done.
Eisenhower did a good job, but they still didn't call me and say, oh, somebody's here to talk to their kids. This could have been somebody dressed up in not even a detective. So what would happen? We would have no clue. What we gonna do about that? They still, after a while, came in to our meetings, but nothing was resolved. Fingers still pointing out, nothing's been talked about. What are we gonna do? Where do we go from here? Are we gonna talk about it? Do we have rights? What is the law? Because from my understanding, they can't be talked to with our parents, but it happened. So where do we go from there? I don't know. I'm still looking for answers. Okay.
Thank you for addressing the board.
Thank you for taking the time out.
All right, next item on the agenda is item 7.1, business by consent. I'm looking for a motion.
Madam President, I move the board approve the items of business by consent as presented and authorize the board president or superintendent to sign the special project and purchasing contracts for and on behalf of the board.
Thank you. And a second, Dr. Bonebrake. Any discussion? All right, we're open to vote.
The vote is now open.
Thank you.
Mr. President? I'm
Yes.
sorry, I do have a question.
All right.
I have a question regarding Robinson. There's a contract for Robinson, something related to the buildings. I just want to get a sense of what's happening at Robinson.
Sure, I can speak to that. So at Robinson, there is a foundation problem where there's the floor is settling and sinking a little bit. So we have gone out to bid for a summer project that will address that. It'll just polymer fluid will be injected below that slab to bring it back up level with the rest. And I hear that it is a part of the foundation that's kind of behind the stage area there. So it'll be a summer project again, but it won't interfere with summer school that's going on. Spoke to Mr. Schaefer about that today.
That's on the east side of the building, right?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. All right, thank you.
Any other questions?
All votes are in and the motion carries unanimous.
All right, next item on the agenda is item 19, superintendent's report.
This evening, we will be giving our accreditation report. The superintendent's update, I do want to update you on a couple of things. One, you just approved the new principal for Meadows. We're so excited. Ashley Pinot, who was a Meadows graduate, she went from 2nd through 5th grade. Her mother actually opened the school at Meadows. She's currently an assistant principal at Williams, previously was a dean and admin intern at Jarline, and we couldn't be more proud of having our own move into the principal position at Meadows with such a close connection to Meadows in that community. And you just approved her as a principal for next school year. Additionally, on the personnel report, you did approve a leave of absence. And so just for clarification, for those that are listening, that is an intermittent leave because as you all know, my mother has Alzheimer's and every now and then she may have an appointment when I have a work day. So that intermittent leave is approved for that, but I am still here. With that, I'm going to turn it over to Ms. Wallace, who is going to go right into our accreditation report. Then we'll turn it back over to the board. So you have plenty of time for your discussion this evening.
Good evening. I'm going to have Dr. McDonald and Mrs. Dick come forward. They are our school improvement specialists. And just as a reminder, we are in our 2nd year of an annual accreditation process, having moved away from a 5-year process. And so we had some great successes this year and then want to share what's coming next. So I'll turn it over to them. They do the really hard work.
Thank you, and
Good evening. Thanks to your support, leadership, and guidance, and definitely thank you to Dr. Anderson and Ms. Wallace as they guide us through the process. This is our second year going through this particular process. And in order to get through the process, bring everything and everyone on board, we had to come up with some type of framework or some type of organizational structure. And so what you see there is something that incorporates everything we're doing in the district. You can see up at the top that it incorporates and starts with the Topeka Public Schools strategic plan. So everything we do starts with that and then builds down. We have our mission, vision, collective commitments, beliefs, and goals. And then right underneath it is what we're talking about tonight, the KISA accreditation. On the sides, we have our professional learning communities and our school improvement process. In the middle, we have the fundamentals that are tied to the KISA accreditation. As part of that, the KISA accreditation, we needed to pick one or two fundamentals. We picked two, and we'll actually explain those tonight. One of them being structured literacy, the other one quality instruction. What you see in the 4 columns are things that we are already doing within the district. So the whole purpose of the school improvement organizer is to show teachers, staff, what we're talking about when we talk about KISA accreditation. It's not something new. It is what we're already doing, repackaged and just enhancing certain parts of it. All that at the bottom sits on our CI3T plan, which incorporates the tiered model of intervention and prevention. First off, we want to start with some celebrations from last year going into this year. So I just talked about the school improvement organizer. That was a huge piece because it brought in coherence. Everybody was on board. Everybody knew what we were talking about. The next piece was the data collection platform for walkthroughs. We have been doing walkthroughs and collecting data for several years. Data was collected on each walkthrough and kept on a spreadsheet year after year. Each year we could look at the data. We started to run into problems when we wanted to collapse that data, when we wanted to analyze the data. It was very difficult to come to conclusions. So we came across and started to use this year Pickup, which is a program that allows us to use our walkthrough data is collected in Pickup. We can use reports that are canned, and we can also write our own reports that allow us to disaggregate data in any manner we want. We also have our professional learning session. Every one of them is tied to that KISA school improvement organizer.
What kind of data?
So the data that we collect would be asking students individual questions about what are you learning? Why are you learning it? How will you know you're successful? Collecting that data, analyzing what types of questions teachers are asking. What's the learning environment? Situations of higher level questioning, academic discussion, relationships between teachers and students.
I've walked the halls at a couple of high schools and met with students that are walking the halls during class. I don't want to be here, they say. There's nothing relevant for me here. How does this collect in the data? And what do? We lost what, 250 or 400 students last semester? How, where, what, and why?
Well,
I'd like to know that kind of data.
That's the purpose of data collection, is to collect the data and analyze just what you're asking. Why is that happening? so that we actually ask the students that question. It's not an assumption on our part as to why those things are happening. We're going into the classrooms and asking individual students specific questions about their learning. So in moving on, we're looking at the professional learning sessions, and we're taking that KISA organizational chart and tying each one of our sessions to that piece. We also have our training nights where we met with all the buildings, professional leadership teams, and showed them the organizer and how they can push it out to their staff. And finally, we present at annual conferences. And at one of them, we actually had the director of accreditation and design say, "You knocked it out of the park." So that was a huge pat on the back for us in that presentation.
And just further on those celebrations, all of that was possible because of our teachers and our instructional leaders, our principals. They hold our teachers to that accountability of using high impact instructional strategies and the curricular resources that we have adopted here in our district. So the other part of those celebrations is they are talking about our implementation across the state. So we've had several school districts reach out to us directly to ask about what we're doing because of the impact we're beginning to see with student growth. So we're still looking at all those models to determine what are those best steps that we can place in front of our teachers, give them the right training, the right support systems, the coaching that they need. And we're also coaching our principals as well, so they know what effective instruction looks like and how to give effective feedback. So that leads into what we've identified as our possible next steps for this year's plan. So it's hard to talk about our process on a yearly basis because we start in February because that's when our school improvement day is with the State Department of Education. So it's a February to February timeframe for us specifically. So we started planning this a long time ago based on data. So we've collected thousands of data points to inform our next steps. So we did not want our next steps to be something new or different. They're all tied back to what we chose last year. So we will still focus on structured literacy. We'll still look at professional collaboration within that and tiered systems of supports. We will also focus on quality instruction. And in that, we're also looking at evaluating our educators. And that's not just doing actual evaluations, but how are we implementing in the classrooms using the data from rubrics that we have developed, rubrics we have adopted. And then in addition to the educator evaluation, we're also looking at that professional learning opportunity for our staff. So on those slides, we have highlighted just a couple of things that we've identified for structured literacy. So we want to make sure that we're hearing from our staff. So we will develop by September and deliver by September a survey about their engagement in their professional collaborations. So that's when our teachers come together to talk about instructional design, data from student work, and then make informed decisions to impact instruction at core, which is that tier 1 level where the teacher is the first interventionist. And then they look at the data to inform instruction for our students that might need that tier 2 intervention or tier 3 intervention. So we're going to make sure that we address the needs of individual teams at our schools, and we're going to collaborate with our principals, instructional coaches, and teaching and learning staff in order to provide that follow-up support. In addition, based on the data we have collected this year, we rolled out brand new structured literacy rubrics from preschool through 12th grade. And based on that data, we made some adjustments already with doing a recalibration during the school year. And over the summer, our curriculum and assessment teams, which are comprised of teachers, will actually revise the rubrics to address the ongoing needs. So we didn't want to have inflated scores based on a rubric that's too easy. So we want true reality of what's happening in those classrooms. So right now we have a PK through 2 rubric, a 3 through 5, and then a secondary rubric, but we see a need to have a preschool rubric that is completely separate. So we'll revise those over the summertime. Ms. Bully, did you have a question?
You said that you were going to revise it by the needs,
Mhm.
the district's needs or the staff's needs, the
So,
instructor's need?
So we are also going to be talking to our staff members. So our curriculum and assessment teams are made up of teachers. So in addition to looking at the data we've collected this year, we've actually collected over 3,000 data points on that walkthrough tool for both quality instruction and structured literacy. So we'll look at the data and see, are we inflated in certain areas? If we are, then we should be seeing an increase in scores in like phonemic awareness or in our comprehension. So we'll use that data really closely to help us inform the next steps. And of course, those rubrics are tied directly to the science of reading. So talking to our teachers about how those rubrics show up for them in their classrooms, and then making sure that we actually look at the actual data. So not just making assumptions about what's best for kids, but let's look at the reality.
And these are used by individual schools or district-wide? Or
Every school.
probably both?
Every school is using.
Every school
Yes.
gets their own data from this
Yeah, they
rubric to
do.
work around?
Yes.
And what's unique about
Yes.
that is the school gets their data, and then they can drill down by grade level or by subject level. Then we can compile it by grade level across the district, or by grade band across the district, or we can see district-wide. We can then drill down also month by month or quarter by quarter to see a trend of improvement or area of that we need to improve, drill down specifically on what it is, or to see if there is a difference between buildings, investigate why that is. So we have the ability to really drill down and notice specific changes.
Yes. And like, in addition to that, we look at the data all the time as a team, and we draw attention to our administrative team as well if we see discrepancies between administrators. So just calling out like attention to, we're seeing, one administrator might have an elevated score, and then another might have one that's a little bit lower. So that means we need more calibration. So really digging into those numbers is important. And that's why using that platform has been pivotal for our success this year.
And that data by building will be used for schools to plan their professional development next year. And we're using the district-wide data to plan for professional development.
Yes. Yes, absolutely. Fantastic question. I was getting a little worried because, Dr. McDonald loves data. We could be here all night. So in addition on just the structured literacy plan, we are asking our content area leaders to identify a research-based strategy for identifying vocabulary in their classrooms. So I know Mrs. Wallace has asked several of our leaders to identify that strategy so we can begin training staff at our April professional development session. So really honing in on what does effective vocabulary instruction look like at that secondary level. We will continue to advertise and find new paths for our staff to achieve that seal of literacy, because we know we have a deadline coming up. The really phenomenal thing that we have here in our school district is we actually have LETRS trainers. Dr. McDonald happens to be one of those. We have a team of our own trainers that can actually provide that training in our own school district. So that's a really powerful resource that we've developed over the last year. We are also going to work to train our staff in the analysis of data. So it's not just us looking at the data, but our teachers, making sure that they understand how to look at the data, what's the data telling us, and then what do we need to do as a next step moving forward. So ensuring that they have the capacity and the skill to do that. So then the next fundamental is quality instruction. So we have not changed course on this for a long time. So we have actually focused on high impact instructional strategies through our visible learning journey for probably 8 years. For the last 5 years, we have actually collected data on the use of academic discussion, higher level questioning, and then use of teacher clarity. So when we ask students those questions, what are you learning, why are you learning it, and how will you know you're successful? So making sure that our teachers feel supported in what they're doing in their classrooms, we did not want to change those strategies. So we're going to continue to build upon just the skills that they have and give them as much training and coaching support as possible so that way they can feel successful. So in addition to that, with our quality instruction, we actually want to increase the effectiveness of feedback that we're providing to our teachers through the walkthrough tools. So we actually will have some training and follow-up coaching support for our administrators on what does effective feedback look like, what does it sound like, and how can we make sure it's timely and actionable. So that is coming. We're actually starting that in May. And we will continue that process throughout the next school year and making sure that it's tied back to current reality and not just that optimism or assumptions. In addition to that, we're also going to start forming administrative cohort groups for doing walkthroughs at each other's schools. That's something our administrators have actually asked for a couple of years now. So we're going to look really intentionally about which schools can visit each other's schools to do the learning walk process, so they can start to talk about what effective instruction looks like across our district. So we're going to be really mindful about how we partner our schools together, and we're going to work with our principal leads to identify that system. So that's something that's coming up that we're really excited about as well. So that kind of wraps up what our next steps are looking like for this next cycle of accreditation. As you know from last year, when we spoke with you about this, and then also at the retreat in the fall, we do have a 6-month check-in with KSDE. So that will happen in September, and then the year will be in February.
Thank you so much. Does anybody have additional questions? Ms. Boley?
Could we put up that last slide, please? Thank you. I know you already tucked it away, didn't you? So a couple of questions. What is a smart card? What does it look like and what is its goal?
That's a great question because I wasn't even looking at this slide. So smart cards. So this is where we want to create transparency about what that means. So if I say we're going to talk about our impact framework, we're talking about highly effective instructional strategies that are part of the visible learning journey with John Hattie's work. So what we'll do is we'll create I call them slick. So they're like slick. They're not necessarily laminated, but they're this nice, durable resource where we're going to be explicit about what does academic discussion look like, what does it sound like, what are the rubrics that we have tied to that. We'll do the same thing with high-level questioning, and then we'll do the same thing with teacher clarity. So it's a resource we're going to provide to teachers and our principals that ensures everybody knows this is the impact framework for Topeka Public Schools. So we'll introduce that framework. My hope is to have it designed and ready to go by New Staff Academy. So New Staff Academy, we give them a lot of resources. We give them this great booklet that they walk away with, but they're also going to get those smart cards.
And will those smart cards be used in collaboration as well?
That is the hope. So we definitely have that as an instructional resource.
And would you bring that slide back up? I'll tell you when to put it down, okay? So the analyze evidence of impact during teacher collaboration. So I do see that we're talking about building our collaboration, really coming in and strengthening that process.
Yes.
That's correct. And so the analyzing the evidence of impact of teacher collaboration will be on your part,
Yes.
the building's part.
So it's going to be on everybody's part. That's
Okay.
actually a really great question. So
I know I got them all.
No, I could be here all night. So I actually do want to thank you. You attended our session at KASB in November or October, whenever that was. So thank you for your support. So when we have talked about just impact in general, we do want to look at student outcomes. So we definitely look at the learning walk data and we compare that to the rubrics, but we want our teachers to begin analyzing their own impact. So developing a protocol, and we actually already have it developed. So we want to put it in front of teachers. We want to put it in front of principals so that way they can review it and give us any feedback that they have to make sure that it's going to be effective in their collaboration time. So the goal for the next year is to try that evidence of impact protocol once a quarter, and that's a minimum. So we have some teams that we already know will use it more than once a quarter. So the goal is to make sure that the teachers are analyzing their own adult actions for planning effective instruction and then delivering effective instruction. And that will help that the collaboration teams have that protocol to kind of guide them through what was the plan, what were the outcomes, and where's the gap. And if there are no gaps, then how do we make sure we actually have that teacher become kind of a model for other teachers as well? So really looking at evidence of impact, truly.
Basically looking at the impact and were we just lucky that it happened, or was it something we did and how do we replicate it?
Yes.
And so the impact framework, do we have a copy of that? Is that,
So
what is the impact framework?
This is a great question.
I know.
You are full of them tonight. I love this. So we had called the discussion, questioning, and clarity our learning trifecta. So that's what we called it. But we are at a point in time where we're doing more than that. So we wanted to come up with a way to capture that. So literally just this week, we came up with that title. So we're shifting from our TPS Learning Trifecta to our TPS Impact Framework. So that will include those 3 strategies. And then we're including feedback and then the structured literacy. So we have not designed what that looks like yet, like you've seen the school improvement organizer. So we'll design something that's going to be similar to that. My hope is it's very attractive because we want to make sure that we can market that information to all of our staff members.
You can put it away now. Thank you. Thank you for all those.
We just want to
It's
thank.
really exciting.
It is very exciting. We thank our team. We thank Ms. Wallace as we continue in this process. We also want to mention that Ms. Dick was one of the TPS individuals recognized in TK Magazine as part of Leadership Greater Topeka. But these 2 improvement specialists, these leaders in our district are doing exceptional work in helping build the system. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, the next item on the agenda is 20 action items, but we are going to hop to 21 first so that we can discuss the board goals. And that way, if we can make a decision this evening, we can move to our 3 action items after that. From our meeting last time, we received 4 goals. Number 7, number 12 were both kind of unanimous. And then 5 and 6 were a tie. So both of those goals kind of fall under the heading of assessment and demographics. So we're really trying to be a little bit more concise and not have quite so many goals that we're working towards, and really want to whittle that down to 3. So I didn't know if there was any discussion that we wanted to have as to whether people wanted to defend why they thought 5 or 6 was better. Ms. Boley?
I think I'd like to ask questions of our leadership. Which is the most powerful here to drive our district? What of 5 or 6? So we're talking about staff satisfaction, or exit surveys? I mean, are they 2 separate existing surveys here?
They are 2 separate surveys. One, we're using Qualtrics to do our 30, 60, 90-day, our exit surveys. The other is comparing fall to fall, which is our annual 360 survey. And we are also working with Brett Church, but his is every other year, so you can't do fall to fall. So there are 2 different sets of surveys. These are things we're going to be doing anyway. It's really a matter of what bar you'd like to look at that we bring back to you in terms of those 3 things to really make sure we look at.
So as you were asking that question, Ms. Boley, the one thing that I thought about is if we're really trying to influence, right? The Qualtrics survey is an exit survey. So those are people that are already leaving. While that information is beneficial, I really feel like number 6, which you and I voted for, just saying, we have the opportunity to look at staff that are still with the district and actively trying to move that higher. So
I also know Dr. Beeson was the one that brought up this concern, so I'd like to hear some of her feedback on either one of these. What would be what would meet your best interest?
And if I could mention, they are doing the 30, 60, 90 days. So Qualtrics will do the whole package, checking in on new staff, ongoing staff. And so they will actually roll out the stay interviews as well for us. That's the plan for this upcoming school year. My apologies.
I don't mean to abandon Dr. Schumacher here, who is my partner in voting for number 5, but there's been discussion about exit surveys, and so I do want to make sure that, especially now that we have some new staff in HR, that we are completing those and offering those. But I am not especially married to one or the other, so.
Can I talk? Is that okay?
Sure.
I'm going to defend number 5. My only concern, I do think all of this data is useful. My concern with looking at number 6 is it's a point in time survey that's occurring probably like 5 months from now. And so obviously we want to be able to affect that, but it feels like we have 5 months to work on this and then that's it. And then it's kind of done. Whereas the exit surveys are something that are continuous and ongoing.
And stay surveys.
Yeah,
You said will be
yeah.
part of that.
Yeah, which we could even add into the goal, maybe. It feels more like a continuous process versus this, we're going to do these things, hope it works, everybody takes their survey, and then it's done. And we don't really have, because then December of 2026, we set new goals. There's not really a continuous time period for number 6 that we can work over. Again, I think it's very useful information. It just when we're looking at kind of a goal that we're going to look at the measures of it, it's just, since it's just that one finite survey, at least right now, it feels harder to affect as a district, as a board, or from administration, versus if you're having continuous rolling data, it feels like maybe you can do a little bit more with that.
Ms. Boley?
And Dr. Anderson, clarifying, you said that we're going to add in to number 5, new teachers. What did you say? It's not just
Yeah.
going to be exit, it's going to be more?
Currently, we, we wrote exit because you all shared comments, so we just put that into a SMART goal. So that's the goals that you got. These are the SMART goals based on the things that came up. However, Qualtrics, the package that we have, we're piloting it now. And so it's being given to people leaving because it's the end of the year. It's, at this point. But as we use Qualtrics at the beginning of the year, they'll be able to do the 30, the 60, the 90 day. Remember, we didn't start using them in about January, February. So now is really the exit time that they're picking up. But the Qualtrics, the whole package really is looking at why do people come and stay? Why do they leave? What do they look for? And then give us some parameters and what are the strengths. And then there's kind of this overall number that they give, or the overall satisfaction score. And I may be referencing the language wrong, but it's an overall score of where they overall, pleased with the job that they had and the place that they worked. And they give us that, and it's an independent group. So we're excited about using Qualtrics. Again, we're still going to do both items. But in terms of what we bring back to you, it's whatever your pleasure is, but their whole package is going to look at all the staff. We're really focusing on teachers, because the turnover for custodians might be, weekly, every other month based on salary, just that notion of that job. So we started with teachers now and some administrators as they leave for other opportunities in geography as they relocate. So we hope to continue that.
Ms. Boley? Oh, Dr. Bonebrick?
Well, I'm in favor of both, but as I have talked with employees, they are concerned about anonymity. And they are afraid there are repercussions if they say things. So I'm just not sure. Maybe Qualtrics will be different, but I'm just not sure we get honesty from these surveys. And I wonder if we can be assured that the employees will say what they want to say.
I think we can build Qualtrics to do or not do whatever we want. So I think if, that's a directive that we want to give to ensure that while the district is collecting the data that they need to be able to be actionable on that data going forward. I mean, if you don't say that you're a teacher or a custodian, I mean, you've got to give certain pieces of information in order for it to be valuable.
but I do understand what you're saying.
We're getting great data back. Well, they're exiting, so of course they're going to fill it out. But, we're getting great data back so far because, we make sure they know it's Qualtrics. It's an outside agency. So I think that was to your concern. It's not our own district. It's an outside agency that built it, that gives us the score, that gives us the information, and it's anonymous and most people know, many people know Qualtrics, and they know that from, stores and grocery stores. And so that has helped us with having someone that's another outside agency.
But will the employees know this outside agency has nothing to do with the administration? It is completely anonymous.
Yes, and part of that is because we've used Qualtrics with our CI3T, our mental health work, and so they're familiar with the tool. We use it because that's what KU uses. So KU uses Qualtrics with us now as part of their collection of data for our mental health work. So many people are familiar with that is a data collection source that is not Topeka owned, Topeka driven, and it's used nationally.
That is correct. There are lots of, one of the organizations I came from, we use Qualtrics software. It's a pretty phenomenal product.
We will reassure
We
them.
can make sure, we can do that. I mean, that's easy. So I wouldn't, if you take that variable out, if we can assure people that it's an outside source that the information's being provided to, that the district is utilizing, do you have one that you prefer over the other out of 5 and 6? We got to pick one. Well, no, because we have 2 in assessment and demographics. And I don't think, so we've got Dr. Church's survey that will continue to go on every 2 years, the retention, Emporia Estates retention survey that they're doing. So we've got that piece. I would be amenable to moving my support to number 5, especially if we're going to utilize the software as kind of doing stay surveys as well, which I think is very important. You good with that?
Yeah, I think it's going to give us more information to work on to make decisions, since it's given to other bodies besides the exit. We hear more about new teacher satisfaction and maybe how we can help build them up more.
The
And
30/60/92, I like that too.
yeah,
I was going to ask Dr. Munoz or Mr. Munoz. I hadn't heard from you. So, all right. So with that, yeah. With that, we will bounce back up to item 20, which is action items. And the first item is 20.1, possible action on board goals. I would be looking for a motion if we're ready to do that.
Madam President, I move the board approve the goals of number 7, 12, and 5 as discussed tonight.
And I would need a second. Mr. Munoz, any other discussion? All right, I think we're ready for a vote.
All votes are in and the motion carries unanimously.
All right, next item under action items is 20.2, and this is resource adoption. And I am looking for a vote if we are ready to take action on that. Or excuse me, a motion, not a vote.
I move the board approve the presented resources for adoption and purchase.
And a second, please. Ms. Boley, thank you. And any discussion?
The material is so good, I forgot to bring it back from last meeting, but I'll bring it back, Ms. Wallace.
That bodes well. All right, now we're ready to take a vote.
And the vote is open. And all votes are in and the motion carries unanimously.
Thank you. And the final item under action items is 20.3. This is the decision in student discipline hearing. I am looking for a motion.
Madam President, I move to uphold the hearing officer's decision of March 23rd, 2026.
Thank you. And a second? Dr. Schumacher, thank you. Any discussion? All right, we're ready to vote.
And that vote is open. And all votes are in and it carries unanimously.
Thank you so much. Next item on the agenda is item 22, board member comments. Dr. Bonebrake, we'll start down there with you.
I've had no committees meet, but I did talk with Dr. Kipp about how many students we lost over semester. Nobody really knows the number. He's looking into it. Probably be more work done after school is out because it's going to take a lot of man hours to find out where these children went and why. But I think it speaks to all our presentation tonight on the education. I mean, kids are there walking the halls. I don't want to be here. I have no purpose here. There's nothing for me here. Why is that? I mean, I found 2 students just in 15 minutes, just walking the halls during class. That shouldn't happen. I don't remember when I was in school that there was somebody missing. Everybody showed up all the time. That's all I have.
I had a couple committees. So technology, we discussed. Discussed the new cell phone legislation and how that may affect us and what we need changes with policies, that kind of stuff. We talked about transition to 2-to-1 devices instead of 1-to-1 devices. In the grades 2 to 4, they'll have iPads, and then in grade 5, they'll still have Chromebooks so that they're ready for grade 6. And some of the other places where iPads have been found to be useful in other districts, so like our music teachers, our media centers. We talked about Fusus, we talked about incident IQ ticketing, the new intercom rollout, and we talked about getting more access points for that blazing fast Wi-Fi. Right. And then I also had Equity Council, which we heard a lot about. We did also talk about accreditation, the plaza, Mrs. Carter. But I did want to call out Mrs. Kramer, it was on the slide, but our district is partnering with NAMI Topeka for a family support group. I just want to call out the time. So it's every 4th Tuesday from 6 to 7:30 at Bishop. And so they just had the first one. That would have been last week, I think. And so they're hoping to build some more momentum around that. No registration needed. People can just show up.
What can people get if they show?
I think it's support with mental health and struggles that families may have around mental health. So it's kind of more of a family-centered support group, which is what NAMI, they have that in other places in the community as well. And so doing that for enhancing access and trying to remove barriers a little bit for some of our kids in our community. And then so tomorrow we got an email about First Friday. So we have some students with art at Noto for First Friday. And then we just had an email. I had emailed Sarah Reese earlier today. So Ross, the music garden, that dedication will be Saturday at 10 a.m. So I did check with her to make sure that it's still on. And so she did email all of us this evening. And so because I think it's helpful to her if she has a head count of board members and others that are going. So if you can email her back, she would much appreciate it. But I look forward to going to that on Saturday morning. And that's all I have.
I am on the technology meeting, but I only have one committee meeting, and that's personnel. So that'll be next board meeting to report on. I wanted to come back to Dr. Bonebreak's data of finding 2 students in 15 minutes in Topeka High and wondering how many kids had their buns in a seat in the classrooms that you walked by. And so I don't know about you, but I had terrible senioritis when I was a senior by the time we hit the semester mark. And so I just question the data of dissatisfaction with our students. I just don't know that your data is strong enough to talk about that dissatisfaction. Well, I know that when I was a senior, I didn't want to be there either. I was done with school. So our goal is for students who really want to learn and be there to teach them. And I think the majority of our students, that's happening. I wanted to remind people that we have graduations because those students did stay long enough to graduate. And so we're going to have a lot of graduations coming up in May. I hope families are making plans around that. I hope our community would like to come out and see the success of these students. It really is a joyful day. I wanted to wish good luck to all of our schools on CAP testing. I'm really concerned about the CAP testing this year because the legislators voted to use the old cut scores on the old test that doesn't align at all to the new test, but we will be using those cut scores. So I want to caution our board members that when the CAP scores come back next year, it is going to be really hard for any district to analyze how successful their kids were in the CAP score. So it'll be really important for our board to be really looking at our own formative assessments, our MAP scores, any data that our school improvement team showed us tonight. All of that data is going to be probably much more powerful than our CAP scores because of that, the law that was passed. And I don't know that it'll be vetoed. It might be, but one way or another, that CAP score testing scores will not be probably our most powerful data to drive our district. And the other thing is, I just wanted to say, speak my appreciation for our paraprofessionals in our district. Our paraprofessionals are maybe our teachers are the backbone, but our paraprofessionals are every other single bone in the body that in comparison. They work so hard. They know their students so well. Some of them in special ed have such difficult jobs helping their students move forward and be successful. And I just want to thank them for all their efforts. And a lot of the reasons why they show up every day is because they love their students so much. And they many times love the teachers that they're working with. And so I just wanted to thank them and lift them up and say, you are so powerful for our district.
Very quickly, we met for policy on the 23rd of March. A lot of that policy had to do with safety and security. Nothing major in terms of changes, but just updates here and there. And so you'll see that here coming up in the future. And I think that's it. I wanted to talk about Paris, but Ms. Bully made her, no, you made your point very well. You've been on a roll today. But other than that, I think hope everybody's come back refreshed from spring break and look forward to finishing strong the next couple of months.
I will be quick because my committees have been covered. Also had policy, and then we had wonderful Equity Council presentations. I think the only thing other than that I wanted to touch on is our kiddos have begun assessments at, I don't know if every building does this, but Whitson sends home these cards for parents to write encouraging notes to kiddos that they get right before they take each assessment. And it's one of my favorite things to write those out each year. And I just think that's a wonderful practice. So make sure that all our kiddos I know our schools are serving healthy breakfasts every day and giving them a good start to their testing days. But it's fourth quarter and it's going to fly. So that's all I've got.
All right, I do not have anything to add. I did put a copy of the work session ideas that everybody had contributed to. Dr. Boombrick, if you want to get with me or text me, and I'll see if we have it covered or if we need to add something. Dr. Anderson said that was about the perfect amount, so we can add another one if we need to, and maybe be able to combine or flex or. But thank you for getting back with me on that. I could put those together so I could get them to the leadership team so that they can kind of align them with open spots in our agendas. And other than that, the next item on our agenda is item 24, adjournment, and I am looking for a motion.
Madam President, I move the meeting adjourned.
Second, Dr. Schumacher, any discussion? All right, ready for a vote? We are adjourned.